Hi everyone, I am Father J. Boy Gonzalez. I'm a Jesuit priest and the director of the Ignatian Spirituality and Formation Office of the Ateneo de Davao University. The prayer that we will use is called a preparatory prayer. It is taken from the spiritual exercises of Saint Ignatius of Loyola. Jesuits usually use this prayer to begin classes, meetings, spiritual activities, and events. It says that whatever we do should begin and end through God. And that is exactly what we want and hope for in this activity. May I ask the Catholics to mark themselves with the sign of the cross, while the others might put themselves in their own proper disposition. And so, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Amen. Dear Lord, we ask you to help orient all our actions by your holy inspirations. Carry them out by your gracious assistance, that every prayer and work of ours may always begin from you and through you be happily ended. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Amen. Enjoy this event.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang mag-ibig, kailas ang sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang binirang, tuyag ka ng mag-ibig, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ang bagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng patawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iibig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pamay di magtitinig, luman ang araw ng walang pagsinta, mo'y langit sa piling mo. Ang higaya ng pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good morning, maayong buntag sa tanan. Allow me to share with you the context behind this dialogue. The pandemic has resulted in the forced closure of gyms, stadiums, pools, dancing and fitness studios, parks and playgrounds worldwide. As a result, many sports enthusiasts and the like cannot participate in regular sporting or physical activities outside of their homes, whether solo or in groups. Due to these circumstances, many people become less physically active. They spend more time on screens, they have irregular sleep patterns, and eat unhealthy diets, resulting in weight gain and loss of physical fitness. Lack of access to exercise and physical activity has negative mental health impacts, aggravating the tension and anxiety that many individuals experience due to being cut off from their normal social lives. Furthermore, the prospect of losing a family, relatives, or friends as a result of the virus and the impact of the illness on one's economic well-being and access to food exacerbates these consequences. Thus, the sports office of the Ateneo de Davao University Basic and Higher Education Unit in partnership with Ignatian Spiritual Formation Office, will integrate its program to spearhead a campaign. The aspiration is to nurture our athletes and affiliates' mental health, physical fitness, spiritual growth, and flourish their leadership. The goal is to collaborate on informative, formative, and transformative events, meaningful and immersive to our athletes, sports enthusiasts, and stakeholders across all units. This dialogue on eSport is just one of the series of events that the sports cluster and ISFO will collaborate. Today, I invited a distinguished guest, Coach Ryan Villena. Coach Ryan is an education and event coordinator for Inspire Sports Academy. Hi, Coach. He is also
Hello,
a
good
certified
morning.
personal trainer from the American Council on Exercise, specializing in youth fitness and sports conditioning. Mhm. The founder and owner of Haraya Sports, an educator, currently teaching philosophy, social sciences, and physical education coordinator. He's also a basketball coach for various schools, a basketball data analyst consultant. Okay, malapit na yung NBA. A student of chess and esports, and a husband and a father of two. Welcome, Coach Ryan. Maayong buntag.
Hello. Mayang buntag. Good morning, everyone. Nice to be back here in Davao, even though virtually lang. Still, I'm in
Yes,
Davao.
Coach.
Nice to
Ano
be
bang
back.
baon natin dyan, Coach?
Well, eto tayo, no? Pandemic pa rin tayo. Pero, well, nice to be back because I gave this talk, I think last year, no, about this
Yeah.
time around. We'll go back at it and then we'll have even more insights. And I hope this will be useful again for more audiences now. Diba? I believe
That's true,
last
Coach.
year we only had the senior high, no?
Yes, last time we only had the senior high school learners. At this time, we are trying to approach more of a wide audience, the parents, teachers, and learners from the junior high school, senior high school, and college. Coach,
Yeah.
studies have shown that participating in organized esports teaches collaboration, communication, strategy, leadership, and sportsmanship. But just like any other sport,
Mm-hmm.
there are also risks and harmful effects, right? Health risks, addiction, and gambling are just few to mention. Now, Coach, I have three questions for you today. First is, what is esport?
Mm-hmm.
Second, what is esport? Why is esport rather a sport? And third, what do we get from esport?
Okay. All right. Cool. Sige. Perfect. No? My talk will be circling around, diba, those questions. All right. And since we have a broader audience today, I made it a point that not to give up my talk last year and
Yes.
repackage it and add a few more, no, insights, no, after a year. So sige, let's answer those questions. No? Precisely, those were
Yes, but
my
before that,
reflections.
Coach,
Sige,
we
let's
have
go to the
some
slides.
comments here
Sorry.
from Flus Wednesday.
Comment.
Hi, Coach Ryan,
Hello, Fluis
and to
Wednesday.
our viewers from the senior high school, Ateneo de Davao University. May buntag sa inyo dyan. Katatapos lang ng LDP namin. To the college unit. And all across
Yes.
from Manila. We have viewers
Mhm.
from Manila as well.
Wow. Yeah, good morning rin, Father J-Boy. Okay,
Yes, Father
nagkukulitan kami
J-Boy,
ni Father
good morning.
J-Boy. Kukulitan kami ni
Hopefully,
Father J-Boy, yung
Father
book niya eh.
J-Boy could be able to join with us.
Yeah, yung si Father J-Boy kasi BTS yung peg nung book niya eh.
Okay, yes.
All
Coach,
right.
go ahead.
Sige, let's go to the slides. Sige, tingnan natin if those questions, no, will be answered. Yes, precisely. My talk is called The Digital Tito. Okay, it's a reflection of a middle-aged esports convert, myself. No? And I'm proud to be of 43 years old. I may probably be the same age as your parents, okay, give or take. Okay, so
Yes.
before the pandemic, kasi I was so much involved with physical activities for the youth. As I'm a basketball coach, been coaching kids, been coaching boys and girls. Okay, and I was also involved with my own gym studio for kids. Actually, my daughter's in there, and the picture you have that was you have there with volleyball is actually the Sunday just before we had the lockdown here in Manila.
That was March. Was it March in Manila?
Just
It was March
sumipli pa
dito sa
kami
Davao.
championship. Okay. So, okay. Oh, that was taken the weekend before, the day before we had the pandemic. So I was involved with sports, but then suddenly the world stopped. So as we all know it, until now, physical activity is very limited, face-to-face
Yes.
sports. Okay, wala. So, but next slide, please. Diba? That should not stop us from doing what we have been doing. Now, our mission for everyone, for the kids, for the students, to learn, to continue to have activities, and to communicate through sports and have teamwork, to cooperate within, and hopefully to excel. All right. So that got me involved with esports. For me, esports was a tool to be engaged in, to be locked in with everyone. So therefore, next slide. For me, yung E is a variable. No? It can be evolution, how we adapt to the situation, right? How we can still be engaged even though we are in our homes, we cannot go out and be with our friends. How can we still be together? And
Evolution,
how can
coach.
evolution.
Sinabong evolution.
Yeah, we change, we adapt, diba? We adapt to the situation. Okay? And yung last ego kasi is enlightened. Before, as I was a coach, basketball coach in traditional sports, quote unquote traditional sports, I was in the dark with my understanding with esports. But because of the situation, it got me involved. It got me to know wonderful people. I got to know the programs with esports, and they're as worthy as the traditional sports, and they can be side by side together with traditional sports, and we can work something out. And therefore, from darkness, now I'm enlightened, and now I'm speaking here as a resource person for esports. Got to know the people, got to know and still continuing to know people, and how we can make esports work for our students, for our country.
In fact, you also organize tournaments for esports, right?
Yes. Again, being engaged, getting people together, getting students learn from each other. Last year we tried that out with Ateneo de Davao, and my students here in Manila, they got to have friends there in Davao in the midst of the pandemic.
That was a profound experience from our learners, coach.
Yeah, di ba hindi mangyayari yun kung yung a blessing in disguise, if you may, di ba? We're here, and what can we do? Now, what can we do instead of just moping, waiting for everything to open up, which for the next year pa siguro, okay, hopefully. Pero with that, keeping that in mind, when we open, our doors are now open for everyone na, yes, we will have traditional sports, and we can also have online activities that can bring together our nation, our schools. Right?
You know what, Coach? I was intrigued nung sinabi mong you were enlightened. Meaning to say, hindi mo alam what esport is all about prior to, of course, this webinar, prior to the pandemic. And because of this pandemic, it brought you something else. And this
Yes.
is, I believe, is one of your passion and one of your advocacy. Um,
Yes.
I'd like to hear from you, Coach, your experience kung paano nagsimula
Oo.
itong esports sa'yo para we have parents listening as well as teachers who are
Mhm.
not opposed to esports. However, medyo ako as a parent,
In the
hindi ko
gray, in the
naiintindihan 'to,
gray.
oo. Pero
Oo.
ano ba 'yung esport, laro ka lang ng laro diyan. Ano ba 'yung trabaho mo
Oo.
doon, 'yung pag-aaral mo? Pero we could just imagine how many hours learners are spending playing online. And if we are not going to regulate this, what's going to be the future? So that is
Yeah.
exactly what we would like to answer now, if we could answer it or share
Yes.
it to other people.
Sige,
Thank you,
let's go
Coach.
to the reflection points. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so going back to your questions, no, the precisely my reflection points for today. Now, what is esports? We like to get to know more about it, and then why is it considered a sport?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
and then lastly, what do we get from it? Okay, and then how can we go about? Okay, so first one, what is esports, and are there different kinds or events? Okay, with esports. Sige, uh, to quote lang, di ba, from a dictionary, esport is a form of competition using video games. So, di ba, andun pa rin yung sense of competition,
Mhm.
okay? Pero what we use are video games. So, there's less physicality, sinasabi, supposedly less
Mhm.
physicality daw. Pero with that medium, it created another contest, no, for among individuals, okay, or teams that will involve a certain level of skill, okay, a certain level of focus, of passion. Di ba? Nandun pa rin yun, yung competition. Pero through video games. What? Di ba? Video game, paano naging
Video
physical yun?
games. Ano
Di
yan,
ba?
Mario Brothers?
Mga ganun lang ako. Ano,
Contra
ma-injure
Mario?
ako sa thumb. Di ba?
Oo.
Ma-injure ako sa thumb ng ganun. Well, precisely, yes. It can cause injury. So therefore, we have to have certain ways of how to do things efficiently. O, sige, we'll tackle that in a while, no? Pero let's talk more about video games, no? Video games has been around because of the invention, of course, of the computer. And since you have that new medium, you have people who have been organizing things dati pa. No, hindi lang yan ngayon na parang kabuti lang because of the pandemic, nagkaroon lang ng esports. Hindi, matagal na nandito. How long has video games and video game competition formally, okay, has been around? Okay, pakiclick nga natin ang ating animation. First of all, it started in the 70s. Well, back then, Atari didn't had the clue that it will become an industry with esports. Their mission was just to promote their product. Okay, marketing campaign. Try out our product and look at our product. It's very cool and innovative, right? With the Atari gaming console. So they organized a tournament to promote their product, and it was called the World Championships, even though it was only held in the US, right? And the grand final, they had regionals, no? They had regionals within, and the grand finals, the top, I think 6 players from across America, they housed them in New York. Okay, and back then, parang wow, di ba? Parang video
It was
games, and then
1970s.
in the 1970s, in the mid 70s, early 70s, and you had the best players then. The event was a game called Space Invaders. I'm sure my
I
batchmates,
am
my
familiar with it.
parents are familiar with that. No? Yung Space Invaders, you have aliens, no? And you have a
Yes.
spaceship. Yung ganun lang, no? Trying to blast them out. And among the 6 finalists, the first champion was really a girl. No? Came up on top. Becky Heinemann came
That's
up
the
on
one in
top.
the picture, right?
Yes, oo. And then, dati nun, high-tech na nun if you had a console. What more if you had several consoles in tandem? No? So that's why dati nun, wow, high-tech nun. So that was the first exploit no ng Atari in esports. Nagkaroon ka ng organized competition using video games. Ang their only goal was to promote their product. Yun lang talaga. But they saw this as a something that 'di ba, they can have yearly. So moving on, when more games were developed, no, Japanese company developed their own games. They had Pac-Man, okay? And in the 80s, they had competition as well. Again, to promote their product. And 'di ba, you see to it that kids are getting better at the game. Okay, so you had titles like Pac-Man. And then in the 90s, when, sige, next slide, next animation, next group of pictures. In the 90s, you have Nintendo with their own set no, of contests. Sige, 1990s na tayo. Yeah, there we go. So parang triathlon siya. And in partner with the music video channel MTV, they had a broadcaster na. Okay, to feature the games. Tatlong games yon, tatlong events. You had Street Fighter, okay, you had Tetris, okay, and you had Super Mario Brothers. So,
Triathlon talaga, ha?
Triathlon yan. And then, siyempre, you have the power of television, no? And you had kids of the same age playing, di ba? Playing on live TV. This is something cool, di ba?
Yes.
And so everyone will need to practice. So therefore, di ba, Nintendo's aim to promote their product, di ba? It became even more astonishing with the sales, and of course, the product as being something that is consumed hindi lang yung consoles, but rather as an organizing body, for something beyond the consoles that they are selling. It's a tradition na. It became part of culture that's the youth go through. The youth will play a triathlon of games, just like etong Nintendo World Championships. Diba? It became altogether a brand, the Nintendo World Championships. Okay, just like the Atari World Championships. And moving on, 1990s, you saw the development of the internet. So from computer, gumaganda yung graphics, biglang nagkaroon naman ng internet. You have connectivity. And you had the Koreans had gaming. They had gaming be larger than life. You had Koreans having their gamers as their heroes, as their star athletes. And the game Warcraft really changed everything because it was a game so popular in their internet cafes. It was featured in their networks as having the top players challenge and battling out weekly or nightly with different shows. Okay? And then soon you had jam-packed arenas filled with people watching two players battling it out with a video game, with a game called StarCraft. Okay?
Yeah.
StarCraft, I'll be talking about later what those games are. And then,
diba? StarCraft.
Ayan, oo. Di ba? Nakita ng mga tao nakita na, wow, stadium field, parang, di ba? Dati nun, basketball lang yan. Or football. Di ba? And you only had a couple of guys playing, di ba? Parang boxing, di ba? Parang Manny Pacquiao, parang, parang heavyweight title match ni Mike Tyson. Dati ganun lang yun. Right? Pero ito, computer games, ganyan karaming tao nanonood. Ayan, 2 tao lang yan. Heavyweight sa StarCraft. Okay, and then more titles were developed. Okay, in the 2000s. Okay, we had Warcraft, di ba? Age of Warcraft. And then nagkaroon ng patch. You had the most famous patch called Dota 2.
Yes.
And then it became something na team-oriented, hindi na one-on-one. You
So,
had
nag-evolve na,
LAN.
coach.
Nag-evolve na, no?
Nag-evolve na.
From single player to
Mhm.
team player. So, di ba, with team players, you had teammates battling against another team who, di ba, they have their own systems. May systems nang involved. No? So, therefore, nakita nila with the growth of what the South Koreans did in America and in Europe, they had the international. It was an organizing body for Dota players. So nandun na rin yung element of network, di ba? Picked it up from where South Koreans had it. South Koreans picked it up from MTV, and you had that. Wow! lumaki. And you had sponsors coming in, and lumaki na yung mga prizes. All right? So therefore, in 2010s, in the 2000s, we had even more games developed aside from Dota. Sige, next set of pictures. Okay? We had games with first-person shooting, no? With Counter-Strike, and also being used as contests, no? With international teams playing against each other.
May Quake pa dyan at saka Half-Life?
Yung Quake and Half-Life, no? Pero Counter-Strike yung pinaka ako Half-Life ako eh. Yun yung game ko naman.
Yun yung nabutan ko.
When I was graduating from college, no? Tuntua kami, it was voted na number 1 game. Pero what's my students back then were playing was Counter-Strike. Okay? And it became an issue back then, no? Syempre, people were flocking in and playing Counter-Strike instead of studying. Nagiging issue palagi yan. Okay. So sige, even more games were developed, of course, until now, 2010s, until now, the 2020s. Sige, next slide. You had even more games, na League of Legends, more types. Nagkaroon ng interplay with cosplayers, no? It became larger than just a game. It became a lifestyle. No? Maybe some of them are not good. Maybe some of them are not playing. But dressing up to be someone else, di ba? Sometimes yun yung passion ng ibang people. No? Living their fictional characters. So it became more than just a game. It became a lifestyle. And then they meet friends.
Yes.
Well, at the greater scheme of things, friendship is important. Diba? Interaction between people is important.
I agree, Coach.
Yeah, diba? So, diba, it's not just putting on a costume. No, it's interacting. Diba? It's having your own identity, expressing yourself, belongingness, and then meeting new friends all across the world. Yun, diba? And you have even more games in the 2010. Sige, final na yung pictures natin. Okay? You had more organizations buying into the world of video gaming and organizing events like FIBA, di ba? Yung international body ng basketball, being involved in esports. So they took in 2K and they have their very own tournament, esports tournament ng FIBA Esports, with 2K as their medium. Okay? And you had from Counter-Strike, you had more games that are now hitting, no? And are now making their waves with Valorant. Okay, so
ito yung brief history ng esports, Coach, no?
Around the world.
It started from just advertising it to sell their products, and then ended up organizing teams. May comments nga dito si Father, sa Counter-Strike daw, yan yung nilalaro ng sa office niya. And then, Ryan, parang October lang na nagsusuot ng costume na favorite character ng book nila sa Ateneo High School.
Exactly, di ba? Putting on, expressing yourselves, di ba?
Yeah.
And meeting, yun yung, for me, yun yung greatest takeaway. It's not just a costume, it's you interact with people.
It
Diba?
was in
Different.
Xavier University as well, in Cagayan de Oro. I
Meron din
was
kayong ganun.
exposed to playing Counter-Strike at saka StarCraft. So very
StarCraft, di ba? Yung mga yan, no? Yeah, yeah. For me, yun yung mahalaga eh. Expressing yourself, di ba? Having a platform for you and then others as well, and then you get to know them. Parang yun rin pala ang gusto mo, di ba? You get that, and then it's more than just a game.
Yes.
It's,
Now that we have figured
Yeah.
out what the brief history of esports is, Coach Ryan, what about our future?
Well, tingnan muna natin yung past natin dito sa Philippines. Kasi this
Okay.
was the what happened in the world. No? Pero sa atin in the Philippines, sige, next slide. We'll talk about more in the Philippines. Actually, late bloomers tayo. We only started talaga 2004 with Mineski. Now, you had internet cafes back then, 'di ba? Yes, we played Half-Life, 'di ba, sa mga ganon. With computer na set up yung mga computers with LAN, yung mga ganon. But Mineski was the first one to be a franchise, throughout and be consistent with their product, with their brand. And then they were the first ones to organize esports formally. And then they had next set of pictures. They were the first to organize a professional tournament na. Sometime na in the late in 2010s, and then they had the first contingent for the Worlds of the League of Legends. So kaya pa lang ng Filipino talent to compete in the world stage. Ayan na, nagsimula na yung Filipinos going to international esports competition. Like I said, late bloomers tayo, 2010s na to. Whereas the Koreans, they started everything, di ba? 15 years from this. Okay? Pero sige, as we continued, nakita yun ng nakita ng maraming institutions like the networks. Action TV came out with the first broadcast noong 2015. So nakita may audience pala. Wow, mayroon palang viewers with this, and they organized the first tournaments in malls. So you had that, that's in Ayala Mall, jam-packed crowd. Meron palang audience. So therefore, the government also came in to regulate everything. Of course, the winnings kasi internationally, you have that in thousands of dollars. So you had
taxable.
Yes. So the government came in with PAGCOR to regulate everything. Okay? And then you had the games like Mobile Legends, which was a hit because of the medium of using the cell phone, the mobile phone, no? You do not need your personal computer na high tech, no? Na it's kind of pricey for having yung RAM na more than dati nun 8 gig, okay ka na eh. Dati nun. So it was expensive. Pwede na yun eh. But with cell phones as a medium, wow, it was easier to play. Okay? And Mobile Legends was a hit. Okay? And it's continuously having a name for itself. And how the game is developed. I talk about that and how it is progressing. Maganda yung pagka-design nila. And you had events in national events, sporting events na, and international sporting events with the SEA Games embracing esports as part of their lineup. Okay,
SEA
so
Games.
You had SEA Games, Southeast Asian Games. So making it on an internationally, okay, we had teams, and making it to the national team as the Philippines representative for certain esports events. Wow, di ba? And the developers of Mobile Legends, for example, really appreciated the Filipino audience, so they developed their characters from Filipino heroes and Filipino characters, and sports personalities. You had Paquito and Lapu-Lapu, of course, Lapu-Lapu is based on our national hero. And you had Paquito, of course, from because of our recently retired boxer Manny Pacquiao. Okay, and you had internationally recognized teams such as Bren Esports, okay, making their ways, making their headlines, no, in international professional events. No, pag natatalo ang Bren Esports, no, malungkot ang Pilipinas. Tapos sobrang trash talking naman ng mga Southeast Asian countries, neighboring countries natin. Tuwang-tuwa sila. parang ganun level na. It's the
Parang laro
level na
lang ni
parang
Pacquiao,
Manny Pacquiao.
parang
Oo,
zero
parang
crime.
Pacquiao level na.
Mm.
Ganun eh. And then tayo yung we're making headlines in FIBA Esports as the number 1 team in Southeast Asia, if not one of the best teams in Asia, no?
Okay.
With in FIBA Esports, no, with our 2K Gilas team. Okay, so we are making good strides, even though we started late. We are late bloomers,
2004.
10 to 15 years late, di ba?
Yeah.
But we are making good strides. So let's talk about what are esports events. Let's talk about ano ba sila? Because to the untrained eye, itong pictures na to parang pare-parehas lang eh, no? Pero ibang-iba yan. Iba yung nature nila. And if you know the nature, you know what can be developed. Diba? And ano yung kailangan technical requirements? Ito lang ba? Okay na? Or do we need a computer or a gaming console? Just like the PlayStation? And what are the popular titles? Maybe parents out there, your kids are talking about this game and that game. So if you get to know what the titles, you are familiar with that, you know what they are getting into and what they can benefit from it. Diba? Hindi lang siya yung naglalaro ng video games, tapos.
Yes.
We get to decipher what can be developed, no, if they play these games. And also, again, what are they getting into? Baka yung theme of the game, is it to your liking, or okay pala, at least you get to know about them, and you talk about the games, no, during dinner time, during your meals, di ba? Oy, I know about your game, we talk about it more, and then maybe you might try it yourself. Oh, di ba?
So as a parent, it's good for me to know what kind of games my child is playing, so I get to know the context and I get to appreciate it, and
yes,
maybe look for values that we could get from.
Yes, di ba? It's more conversation. Di ba? You get to know the context of your child. Diba?
Kasi pag wala kang alam sa laro nila, most likely you are going to be judgmental. Ano ba
Ganyan
yan?
ka lang, di ba? Ganyan ka lang, di ba?
Oh,
Much like tayo noon, nakikinig tayo noon sa Tears for Fears, nakikinig kay Cyndi Lauper, nakikinig kay Madonna, nakikinig kay Duran Duran, di ba? Parents natin mas nakikinig sa Beatles, di ba? Kanya-kanyang trip yan eh. So therefore, di ba, if you get to know more about them, maybe you can like them and maybe you can play with them. More time with your kids. Diba? Or kahit hindi ka maglaro, more conversation points. Diba?
Communicate.
Diba? That you know more about the context of each other. Diba? Of each other. Mamaya, when I was a kid, ito yung linalaro ko. Oh, let's go to the first set. It's what we call the multiplayer battle arena. Okay? Multiplayer online battle arena. I'm sorry. That's MOBA. Okay? Kaya MOBA siya. Multiplayer online battle arena. Okay, the theme is to take away the opponent's base by battling each other in a fantasy arena. Okay? It may sound, whoa, high-tech, di ba? But to us, parents, pag sinabi ko lang agawan base, that's it. It's virtual agawan base. Dati na nun, we used to play it by running around the field. Dati nun kasi may mga field pa eh. Di ba? Pero ngayon, it's done virtually and may konting variation. Dati nun kasi na yun, tatayain mo lang yung ano mo yung kalaro mo nun. 'Di ba? Tapos honesty system. Mas nauna ka sa akin
Yes,
na lumabas sa
yes,
base.
oo.
'Di ba ganun lang? Hindi mo naman alam eh. Wala naman.
Wala
Parang
namang
ganun lang. Tapos
review,
babalik
wala
ka sa-
namang replay.
Wala naman review, di ba? Tapos babalik, di ba, ang rule nun, pag tinaya mong ganun, babalik siya sa base.
Correct.
Ganun na ganun ang rule ng ng
MOBA.
multiplayer ng MOBA, di ba? Multiplayer online battle arena ng yan yung popular title niyan is Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Yun, yung Mobile Legends. Ganun siya. It's virtual agawan base. Siyempre nilagyan mo lang ng ng konting asin at paminta, no? May mga weapons, but the weapons are fantasy. Fantasy-based weapons. Swords, spells, no? Minsan may mga laser, o minsan practical weapon like a football, mga ganon, mga bola, ganon, no? So it's more fantasy-based. And the characteristic, it's team play, no? You get to interact with teammates. You have roles. Sino yung nandun sa top ng map? Sino yung nasa gitna ng map? Sino yung nasa bottom lane? Yung nasa baba ng map? What are the roles? Sino yung pupunta sa jungle, no, to farm gold? Sino yung mag-handle nito? Maraming ganun. So you get to talk about it. Ako yung gagawa nito. Ako yung magiging healer ng group. Yung magiging doktor ng group. Ako yung magiging fighter ng group.
So may planning na, coach.
May planning, di ba? And how to go about it. Ilan lalagay natin sa taas, ilan lalagay natin sa gitna. Yung ganun na. No? So,
assigning of roles.
Yeah, meron ng interaction na nangyayari. It's very constructive. Di ba? And you get to choose which players to play. No? You get to plan ahead. Okay, and then, ang maganda dito, may patches. So, pag sinabi natin patches, pag yung game developer, hindi sila they develop the game, tapos okay na kami. Hindi. It's a continuous development of the game. So, minsan meron silang gagawin, kasi since everything is online na, no? Gagawin nila, papahinain na nila yung isang character, papalakasin nila ito. So, magkakaroon ng variations within. So, you cannot just rest on your laurels, tapos okay na ako, magaling na ako. Hindi. The next month, you have something different with the online game platform. So, mag-iiba siya. So, mag-iiba na naman ang iyong strategy. So, it's a continuous development of everything. Hindi na siya yung magkakaroon ng Mobile Legends 2, tapos, yung Mobile Legends 2, hindi maganda. Yung ganon. Hindi, it's just a continuous
Then
development
you create another version. Okay.
Magano na. Tsaka na lang yun. Something big. But it's something na continuously developing tayo. Okay. You have mediums na mobile phone, kaya okay siya. And the popular titles nga are Mobile Legends. So, personal development, you get to know and familiarize yourselves with the map. Okay? Timing, analysis, teamwork, communication, strategy, roles, and risk analysis. If we do this, ano mangyayari sa atin? Kung uunahin natin
to explore, di ba?
Yeah. Then, sometimes you win, di ba? Sometimes you're successful, sometimes you're not. If you're not successful, you talk about it. Di ba?
Yes.
Next type of games, okay? What we call, okay? Sports games. Ito, medyo familiar tayo with basketball, no?
Yes.
Pero dito kasi, it's not playing LeBron James, no? With ang medium kasi nito PlayStation eh. Kaya medyo mahal. PlayStation 4 or 5. Yung old world na yung PlayStation 4 and new world, PlayStation 5. Medyo mahal internationally. But you can play this also in PC, mas mura. Pero hindi ito yung you play with LeBron James as a character. No, you develop your own character from scratch. And then by continuously playing it, your character, gumagaling yung character mo. And that character, kung laro ka ng laro, you practice, diba? You will be a very good virtual character in 2K. And maybe your character can be part of Igilas, for example. Okay. So, you develop your own character. You don't play with an NBA player. Okay, you can practice with other people who are also developing their own characters. Okay? So it follows the traditional rules lang ng basketball. Some other popular titles, meron rin ginagawa with FIFA, with football. Okay? And this is interesting, what we call Rocket League. It's car football. Okay? I hope you can develop players using that because it's a free game. It's only three on three. And there are tournaments in the United States. Okay? With Rocket League.
Rocket League. Okay.
It's an avenue for players kasi hindi pa siya patok dito sa Pilipinas eh. Kung ilan lang ang naglalaro nun, and then you can be a representative of our country, di ba? Playing Rocket League. Okay? It's a free game. Libre lang siya. All you have to do is download it. Okay? Personal development, of course, teamwork, communication, andun pa rin yun. Team play siya. Alright? So, para basketball rin, may risk, but this time, you develop your characters. Next slide, please. Next set of games natin are what we call the fighting games. Okay, medyo familiar siguro yung mga kabatch ko dito na parents. It's the popular titles like Street Fighter or Tekken. It's hand-to-hand knockout between two players. Best of 3, di ba? Bam, 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 parang taekwondo, di ba? Na combat sports. Taekwondo, karate, di ba? Best 2 out of 3. So, individual siya in the use of martial arts. Maybe your children may know more about the type of martial art, or maybe they will get into that type of martial art someday, di ba? Because of this game.
Because of
Pwede,
this.
di ba? It's an avenue for them to explore taking up a martial art. It's never too late to take up a martial art. Di ba? All right, so personal development, you get to practice timing, coordination, tactics, okay? And resilience. You get knocked out, you get back up again. Ika nga ng chamba-wamba. Di ba? So, it's much like the combat sports in face-to-face. But in the virtual setting. Yan. Those are fighting games. Next slide please. Ano yung mga ibang klase pang video games natin?
So we have MOBA,
Okay.
sports, fighting games. Okay.
All right. Next slide. Wala pa ako. Okay, you have real-time strategy games, RTS. Ito yung StarCraft. Ang difference
Yes.
ng StarCraft sa Mobile Legends, yung mga MOBA, ito mag-isa lang. Kumbaga, the manager, siya na yung lahat, siya yung general. No?
Yes.
He gets to develop his base. Ang theme kasi is taking down the base of the opponent. Pero mag-isa ka lang, you are the general. So you get to develop your land team, your air
Enhance.
team, your kung meron man sa
Army.
dagat pa, army,
Yeah.
di ba? Mga ganun. So, it's up to you how to develop it. Individual, strategic. Ang use nito is computers, personal computers. Popular titles are Warcraft or Starcraft. And then, you get to practice management. You get to practice map orientation and risk.
Yes.
So, nagiging manager yung anak mo. Parang ganun yung mangyayari dyan. O ikaw, bilang RTS player, you get to be your own manager, your own general. Okay, next slide. So, that's real-time strategy. Pabilisan rin yan, how to develop. Next, we have card games. Okay? Card games. This is to beat the card deck of the opponent. Okay? It's individual. You get to strategize how to order your cards. It's played now in the PC. Dati nung kasi, totoo yun. May cards talaga, di ba? Yung Magic. Di ba? Ang mahal ng card nun. Now you have that virtually. Okay? You have Magic the Gathering Arena. Sa website nila, you can purchase virtual cards. You can play online. So you don't need that physical card anymore. Okay, dati nung college, di ba, tumatambay. May mga naglalaro dyan sa cafeteria. Dito pwede ng online. Other popular titles, ito, the last SEA Games, meron Hearthstone. It was part of the SEA Games. Itong Hearthstone. So it's much like Magic rin. Okay? So, you get to analyze, no? And you get to practice algebra no? by adding points. Kasi ganun eh, ilan yung nakuwang mana, yung mga ganun, ilang points nito currently. So, di ba? You get to add in your head. You practice that. Okay? So, those are card games. Hopefully, di ba, we can have participants in card games. And Hearthstone Philippines is, I get to know some of their members. No? They're very active group and very welcoming community. Okay? So, if you can have Hearthstone players there in Davao, big welcome for Hearthstone Philippines. Next set of games. Okay. We have the classic games. Ito pa rin yung Space Invaders. Okay. Performance that are based on scores and levels. So, individual siya, pero nandito pa rin yung classic titles like Tetris or yung brick game. Okay. So, maganda na you practice pa rin. No, you practice pa rin these classic games. Okay? Because meron mga pa rin tournaments with this, with Tetris. Brick game. Dati nun, di ba? Naguso yun. Pwede pa rin. And sana we can develop. But with that development, kasi you get to practice puzzles. No? Space. No? Shapes. No? In America, Tetris is used for the grade schoolers. Elementary. Okay yan na for development of space recognition. Get to solve the puzzle.
And then because of the time, medyo you have to make a decision quick. Kasi
pressured ka to think.
Pressured ka.
To recognize. So, di ba? If not, you'll get into trouble. Gaganon-ganon. It will pile up. Di ba? So, classic games is another it's another set of games to go and venture upon. Okay, next set of games. Okay, ito, medyo issue ito. Okay? I know we're running out of time, di ba? Pero it's good to talk about these games, eh. Di ba? Like, this is an issue, this first-person shooting type of game. Ito yung kinamulatan rin natin, di ba? Sir Tolitz. Di ba?
Yes.
Ito yung Half-Life, yung mga ganon. Ang theme kasi nito is to
fulfill talaga to eh.
To fulfill a mission inside the base of the opposing team. Ganun lang talaga yung theme niya. Pero, controversial, it promotes teamwork, di ba? It's team play altogether. You have terrorist, counter-terrorist, pero controversial because of the use of real weapons, no? Yung models niya. No? And you have, of course, blood. Of course, you can turn it down. You can turn that option out. Diba?
There's an option for that, right?
Yeah, there's an option for that. But, yun nga, ang gamit is real M16, AK-47, knife, diba? Those are real elements compared to MOBA games, no, na fantasy weapons. So, it's an
Coach
issue.
Ryan, we have a comment here from William Anthony Severino. Sabi niya, hope there's Minecraft. What about Minecraft? Saan
Minecraft.
Yeah.
Minecraft, hindi siya talaga games, eh, no? Yung it's a ang platform talaga nun is lang siya. It's in between. It's in between. It's in between naman.
Siya,
educational. Hindi naman talaga siya sport competition. It's creating your own game, actually. Ganun siya.
From France Lab here in Facebook comments, Legends of Runeterra. It's a card game.
Yep. Card games. Part of the card games. Pero ito, going back to FPS, di ba? The issue of using real weapons as part of the video games, di ba? Parang medyo medyo controversial. Something that is seen, no? In the news, di ba? Maybe unfortunately for some, yung totoo eh, di ba? Also the theme of terrorist and counter-terrorism. Di ba? We are in an institution wherein, di ba, peace and love should be practiced, right? And then you have an issue between terrorists and counter-terrorists, and it might give and suggest to diba, the youth that the only way to counter terrorism is through violence.
Yes.
Diba? So it might give that wrong impression. So
But
for
this is
me,
not new for me, Coach, this is not new to me because when I was growing up, when I was younger, nagyegigrahan kami. You act out
oo.
like kontrabida, ako yung bida, gera-gera tayo.
Yeah, but
So,
'di ba? That is done, 'di ba? Domestically, kumbaga socially lang 'yan eh.
oo.
But for example, for an institution like Ateneo de Davao,
Mhm.
what's your stance on this? Because you're
Mhm.
organizing something, no,
Yes.
that uses this medium, that
Mhm.
has a theme like this. So for me, I would go with FPS for the more matured audience, like
Mhm.
in college. No?
Okay.
Like let's just have FPS for let's not have FPS for the basic ed, 'di ba? As they go on and become adults of their own, 'di ba? They
Mhm.
will have and form their own stance towards terrorism and counterterrorism. But in the meantime, in the basic ed, I would highly recommend to have the other events in esports. Diba? This can be something to be offered in with more mature audiences. For me, yun lang ang stance ko dito. That's why with Haraya, with Inspire, we only go with FPS on the college level. Okay?
But
Yeah.
just like
So,
any other sports coach, there has to be a support, a backup from the parents, from the
yes.
community to make
Yes.
it,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah. If your kids are playing this, di ba, with titles like Valorant, you hear them talking about Valorant,
Yes.
Call of Duty, and Counter-Strike, right? Just to let you know, no, that's the theme of these FPS shooting games. So if they like this, so for parents, we're bound to the duty of guiding them, Yun lang talaga. If you will not let them play, just so you know, 'di ba? Um may mga magtampo yung anak mo, 'di ba? Pwedeng mangyari 'yun, 'di ba? Pero make sure, 'di ba? Make it clear that this is your stance. Ganun ka. In the end, you are the parent. You are the be all and end all of what your child is going to consume or going to play. So it's up to you, right? Pero just so you know, that's the theme of FPS. So that's why controversial siya, di ba? Next slide. All right. There are other types, yun just like in Minecraft, di ba? Hindi siya talaga esport.
Mhm.
Minsan baka may ninalaro yung anak ninyo, Diablo. Narinig yung anak naglalaro ng Diablo. Ano mo yan, di ba? That's a title of a video game. Di ba? Actually, panahon ko pa yan ng high school, may Diablo 1 di ba? And then, you have Ragnarok, okay? Those are popular titles pero hindi sila esports. They are your own adventure.
Mhm.
Diba? They cannot be competitive in nature. You compete only with yourself. Yun lang siya.
Okay.
And, di ba, now you have, ito yung bagong pag-uusapan, NFT games or non-fungible token games. Yung pay to play, binabayaran ka or you get money from playing these games. Okay, a popular title right now is Axie Infinity. Okay, yan yung Axie Infinity, yung mga cute-cute na yan. Pinaglalaban yan. So it's like your new version of Tamagotchi. O, di ba? If you're familiar with Tamagotchi, it's this online pet. Di ba? Which you breed, you get to take care. It's the same like that.
We have a comment here from
yan.
Mark J. Pena. According to him, Minecraft is a sandbox game, sir.
Yeah, so you develop your own.
Yeah.
Diba? It's up to you how to develop, how to go
Parang
about video games.
interested ako dito sa non-fungible token Pera pala tayo dito.
Yes, you breed. Pero mahal yan to start with. No? Isang ganyan, yung Axie, is costs around, pinaka-cheap is 25,000 pesos.
Okay. So
And then you get to take care, you get to develop it, and then you get to breed it with others, and then kung pure breed, tumataas yung value.
Okay.
You have hundreds of thousands of pesos worth of non-fungible. So that Axie is a non-fungible token. Okay? It's an imprint na yun lang yung nabebenta mo. It's an imprint digital. It's a digital imprint. Yun yung nabebenta mo. The rights to that imprint. So, the more that you breed, the more na magkakaroon, you get to sell. So, you get to be a player, you get to be a breeder. No, may ganun na ngayon. So, it's not a sport, but it's something that the youth are going to right now because it's something exciting. It's something in the digital realm. It's something that you can do and you might earn money. No? But for the parents, pag humingi sila for example ng kanilang Christmas gift, nabigyan mo ako ng isang Axie, just so you know, it's around 25,000 pesos each to start. Yun lang yun. So, hindi siya yung diamond lang nabibili ka ng ganyan for Mobile Legends. It's expensive. Right? And there are a lot of scams out there, I'm telling you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Just to warn you, I'm a seller of Axie. Tapos baka mabudol kayo. Okay? May mga ganon. So, be wary. I'm not an expert with it. I have friends who have their own companies who build their Axie companies. Yon. I can refer you to them. They are the ones who are more expert. Wala naman akong 25,000 para for NFT characters. So those are popular right now, but they are not considered esports. Baka marinig nilang baka sakali. Okay. Next. Do we go on, sir?
Yes.
It's 11:30. Okay. So, why is it a sport? Yan na, di ba? So, na-familiarize na tayo what esport is. Okay, now, sige, bakit ba to sport or are we just kidding ourselves? It's an excuse na, may ginagawa ako sport ito. Parang ganun. Sige, let's take a look at the definition of what a sport is. Okay, next slide. Di ba? In the dictionary definition, sport is an activity involving physical exertion and skill. Ano bang physical exertion kapag ping, 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 ping? Gumaganon-ganon lang ako. Ito lang naman yan eh. O sige, mapabali yung thumb ko. Ganun lang ba yun? Hindi. It's exertion. The key operative word is exertion. And skill. Okay? Right. So, next slide. I liken esports kasi to chess. Di ba? Nakaupo. But, meron physical demands for sitting. Hindi simpleng umupo ka dyan, ha? Na high tension. Oo, kasi kahit sabihin mo 16-minute game. Di ba? You're up against someone for 16 minutes while sitting down. So, you are on a lot of stress. Nang ganun. Kasi if you lose this match, you're out of the tournament.
Yes.
Tapos, di ba? So, it's based upon your performance on this game. So, it's high stakes. You're seated there going through stress. And it goes on for hours because if you win, you have the next game. Di ba? You have the next game. It's rapid. Pwedeng ganun. Or pwedeng the game is 1.5 hours long. You're seated there against another opponent who is worthy. Okay? And there are, of course, mental demands. Yan, decision-making. Buti kung your plan lang will work because you have to react to the other person's plans. And you have to be consistent throughout your game for you to be able to win a tournament. So, it's a different scenario from just playing chess. When you just play chess dun sa barberia kasi you're waiting for your turn to have a haircut, you're just playing a game. One game lang yun, hindi yung sport. Di ba? Just like you play the basketball game, hindi yun talaga sport. You exercised, yes. But hindi siya talaga sport. Hindi siya sport. You just played a game. And that's it. Okay? So, sa tournament kasi, ganyan ang chess. All you chess players out there, it's very, very, my hats off to you because it's very challenging. Just a fun fact. Sige, next slide. Did you know that ito, meron tayong dito trivia. Next slide please. Ayan. Did you know that ang heart rate ng isang chess player can reach up to 160 beats per minute.
Beats per minute. What's the
Much-
normal beat per minute?
Mga nasa 50 to 55.
50? Okay.
'Di ba? So ito para kang marathoner. Para marathoner.
Yes.
Di ba? When he gets his stride na after an hour of running, ito na yung heart rate niya. Eh sa chess game, ito pwedeng umabot ng ganito because tension eh. Because of the tension of it's a high stakes game. It can reach to 160 beats per minute. So di ba? Physical exertion, isn't your heart part of your body? So nakaupo lang yan, ha? Just like an esport game. Nakaupo lang yan, and it's a high stakes game. It may be the championship or it may be a knockout match. High stakes, right? Next slide, please. So it's like a marathoner. Next slide. Eh mas may demand pang esports eh. Because, sumabra tayo. Ayan. Mas high demand pang esports because aside from seated for hours, aside from the mental demands of making the decision correctly and being consistent, you have social demands. You're part of a team. You may be part of a team, right? And you may have a coach na talaga nagsasabi sa'yo. It can, kasi ganun eh. You can express yourselves eh, because of the chat room. Sa chess, wala naman magsasabi yung chess coach mo naman, oy, galaw mo to. Bawal yun eh, di ba? Hindi pwede yun. Ito
Bawal
meron
yun.
eh. Di ba, pwede mag-coach sa sidelines, pwede mag-coach sa chat box na, oy, mid lane. Biglang, di ba, may ganun ka. May inasikaso kang ganito, biglang you have to adjust. Pwede mangyari yon. Para sa basketball, di ba? Oy,
Yes.
bantay, double team. O, di ba? Gaganon ka, adjust. May ganun sa esports. And then there are the emotional demands. Because may chat box, the opposing team might get into your head, di ba? Mag-chat siya
Yes.
sa'yo. Mag-trash talk siya sa'yo.
Trash
Boom.
talk.
O, di ba? May culture ng ganun sa esports eh, because you have the element of the chat box. Sa chess, wala. Bawal
Bawal yun.
yon, di ba? You have to be silent. So, di ba? Mas demanding pa nga ang esports kesa sa chess. Okay, another fun fact, another trivia. Next slide, please. Okay. Yan. Did you know that a chess player burns, dahil sa transferring, no? Did you know that a chess player may burn up to 6,000 calories a day? No? From sitting down and playing a tournament. 6,000
Right.
calories. Even
calories.
more than your tennis player. Di ba yung demanding nakaupo ka nga, but you're making decisions. Di ba? Office workers, di ba? Can experience the same. Di ba yung stress na yun?
Yes.
So it's the same thing. So chess players are put into stress from just sitting down and making decisions and being consistent. Much the same as esports athletes. Okay, next slide. So 6,000 calories yun, no? Diba? Okay, may similarities eh, di ba? You want to be consistent, you want to be good at making decisions while seated down. Di ba? While seated down. May differences though, di ba? As I said, mas social sa sa esports compared to chess. It's a gentleman's game that you have to keep silent for others to take. Parang library, di ba? Right? Sure, meron kang nakikita ngayon ng mga game casting sa chess na madadaldal yung mga di ba?
Pero
Mga
hindi narinig yun.
pero hindi naririnig 'yon, di ba? Hindi naririnig 'yon.
Only for the
Sure.
audience.
Oo, only for the audience, di ba? Na parang arena yung nila game casting nila sa chess. But yung players, silence 'yon.
You're comparing esport to chess so that we could appreciate yung discipline at saka yung effort na ginagawa.
Di ba? Yung
Yung mga-
quote unquote nakaupo lang eh.
Nakaupo lang eh, pahayahay. Sa Bisaya yan, pahayahay lang kanina.
Hayaan lang, di ba? Nakaupo
Oo.
lang kayong ganun. Di ba? Ano yung ma-injure sa chest? Ito, ma-injure ito. Pwede, di ba? Pwede kung tumabig. Di ba? Pero
Yes.
di ba? Pero di ba, yung seated down, and it's not just seated down and doing nothing. It's making the right calls
Decisions.
and being consistent. Much the same as esports. And plus, you have the differences of having the chat box Having that social
Yeah.
aspect, 'di ba, na you
Game
have
changer
to
yan.
game changer 'yon, 'di ba, na may nag-react na teammate mo,
Mhm.
naapektuhan ka na nag-react yung coach mo, naapektuhan ka, nag-react yung kalaban mo, naapektuhan ka, it gets into you. 'Di ba? Whereas in chess, it's a gentleman's game. 'Di ba? Kung anong nangyari, it's up to you. Pwedeng at the end, 'di ba, analyze yung game mo, mali yung move niyan ganyan. But 'di ba, you were there thinking about something and you keep it all to yourself at that time, right? And then lastly, yung technology. In chess, 'di ba, kahit saan ka lupalop ng mundo you play in, whether you play here in the Philippines, you play in Canada, you play in America, you play somewhere in Africa, you have the same pieces. You have a king, a queen who have the same movements, a rook, a light-colored bishop, a dark-colored bishop, di ba ganun? Same. With esports, you may have different variables, different characters. Different characters have different specialties, different combinations. Di ba? Biglang ang dami mong kailangan aralin more than chess. Di ba? In chess, aralin mo yung opening, di ba? Ang dami, sure, millions can happen.
Combinations, yeah. Combinations.
What more with esports? Because ang daming combination. I don't
Plus
know
pa
if
yung
someone
patch na sinasabi mo, yung
iba.
may patch.
Oo, it may differ talaga. So it's chess on steroids pa nga eh. yun yung nangyayari. So similarities and differences. Okay, next slide. Kung ganun pala, again, much as the role of a chess athlete is, just like Wesley saw, the roadmap of a chess athlete for success is you have to work at it. You have to work on your game. From beginner to small tournaments, diba? To inter-school, to national, if you're that good, diba? And then to international, if you're really one of the best, diba? And then if you're really great and excellent at it, you'll go professionally. Diba? Just like what Wesley So had. Diba? We from our ranks here locally, diba? And now he's there representing the US, unfortunately, no? Because of political issues.
Yeah.
Diba? Pero diba? He started from learning the game.
Yes.
And now he's one of the best, 'di ba? Considered one of the best with,
If not
'di
the
ba?
best.
Now, 'di ba? If not the best, 'di ba? You have Magnus Carlsen there, ranked number 1. Tingnan mo ngayon, nandun siya, naisaan niya si Magnus. Oh, 'di ba? Okay. So, ganun rin, the patience that he had, the work that entailed. But if you're passionate to what you are going through, you'll 'di ba? And you're supported, 'di ba? He was supported by his parents. 'Di ba? Foster parents.
Coach,
'Di ba? Yes.
onto the gamer, you mentioned earlier, ano yung game at saka yung ano yung sports.
Yes. So, 'di ba ito?
What's the big
athlete,
difference about?
'Di ba ito athlete ito, coach, 'di ba? Si Wesley So is an athlete because ang layo na ng pagdaanan na niya eh. Hindi lang siya naglaro ng chess sa barberyahan. 'Di ba? All right? Yes. Pero ito, sige, punta tayo sa next natin. Okay, big difference is the gamer, 'di ba? Good technically, sige, yung picture nga natin. A gamer is maybe good technically, but plays for oneself. The goal is just to earn, just to play for keeps. Okay? But an athlete, he is good systematically and plays with others. The goal is to be the best of himself. No? So, a gamer, andun lang siya, naglalaro lang siya para sa sarili niya. Whereas an athlete, nandun yung discipline to play, to listen to the coach, to play with others. Okay? And to be the best of what you can
be. May future ang gamer into esports.
May future talaga. As a game, as a gamer lang, no? Pero beyond that, marami pa, 'di ba? So what do we get from sige, next slide please. Yeah, next slide. So, the road for an athlete, marami yan, no? You have to practice, you have to listen to your coach, You have to give time, pero at the same time, balance your time. You have to compete locally, compete internationally, and then afterwards, maybe you're 25, 27 years old already, hindi ka na ganun ka in demand niyan. Yun ang retiring age ng isang athlete sa esports. Kasi sinasabi na after 25 years old, yung reaction time mo mabagal na compared to 16 years old. So ang bilis lang ng career ng isang athlete. So where do you go from there? Okay? So next slide. What do we get from esports? Go to the last part of our discussion.
Yes,
Or are we just wasting our time? O sige. Now, to waste is to use or expand lang carelessly, extravagantly, or no purpose. Diba? Such a big operative word. You're just wasting your time playing computer games. Naririnig natin yun so often.
Yes.
Sayang sa oras. O ayan. Yan yung ibig sabihin. Carelessly and extravagantly to no purpose. Tingnan natin kung no purpose talaga. Next slide, please. Benefits from playing esports game. Well, physical, you have quick reaction skills.
Yes.
You have better motor development. And if you're an athlete, you should be wary of that by making yourself be conditioned to have better eye and hand coordination.
Hand and eye. Yeah. Important.
Hand and eye. Nakita mo, you react quickly with your hand. Ganun. Okay, quick. No? Sinabi yung the best South Korean RTS, yung StarCraft player, is better than the normal human being by 30 times. Imagine mo kung gaano siya kabilis mag-react. May nakita siya, biglang gaano kabilis yung click niya. Yung ganon. So, physically, quick reaction skills. Psychologically, cognitive ability, decision-making, and risk-taking. Di ba? Just like sa chess. Kung nag-move siya dito, what do you do? How do you react? And then, nandun yung risk. Di ba? Nandun yung risk. Yes. And maybe psychologically and maybe emotionally, no, meron silang nagagawa. May self-worth, belonging to a team, may accomplishment. Socially, you get to interact with others. Yung nga yung difference niya within a chess player. Di ba? You get to work as a team. Well, sa chess naman, wala naman team chess na naglalaro kayo on the same board. Di ba? Ito, you get to interact. There's teamwork. So therefore, there's culture building. Those are experiences in life. No? Na some 20 years from now, yeah, we were part of the Mobile Legends team of Ateneo de Davao. Diba? Something to go back to memory lane. Diba? Back then, we were playing Mobile Legends. It was a team. That's yun, diba? Yun na sila. Found memories of those 5 players, 6 players in the team. Diba? Having their share of playing sports together. Again, sport na siya, diba? Kasi andun na yung discipline of
establish yung discipline,
diba? Yung skill.
Yung
diba?
skill.
And listening to a coach. Yun. Okay. Pero, aside from that, what are the other benefits? Next slide, please. We go to
Ito, importante ito. Yeah.
the industry. So, di ba, shelf life lang ng players up to 25 years old? No? For some of you here, maybe just a good 9 or 7 years na lang. Okay? But you can go into coaching and development. You can be the next mentors for the kids. Okay? You might go into management wherein baka, 'di ba? Baka sikat sila, 'di ba? Meron na silang schedules for broadcast, 'di ba? For TV. May appearances na ganyan, for sponsorships. 'Di ba nandun? You earn from sponsorships. Then you'll be the one to talk to them. Magaling tong player na to because I know I played this game. You get to be a mentor on the business side now. Okay? You might be part of the communications and production team. You might be a caster. You might be involved with it may be just starting from your intrams, but you're good in English. And it might lead you to other sports. It might lead you to newscasting. Diba? If you have the looks, if you have the skills, if you're comfortable with numerous languages, diba? And again, if you use and practice your brain, you might be part of something even bigger. You might be part of a professional broadcasting team. Might be part of
Now,
di ba?
these are the benefits that we could get from esports. How about the risk, coach?
Risk
Are there
naman. No?
risks involved?
Teka,
Yeah.
yung design lang pala. You get to design uniforms. You
Mhm.
get to design maybe games.
Even
No,
games
you get
coding.
into that. You get into that if you're into game design, and you might start a business of your own, owning your own internet cafe. Ganon. Now the risk. Ito naman yung hirap, di ba? Ang ganda ng benefits natin physically, socially, emotionally, career pathing nandun na all set out for us. Pero ano yung risk? At the risk of next slide. Yan, physical. Yan, eye fatigue, neck pain, wrist injury. Yeah, kung continuous buong araw naglalaro. Psycho-emotional, yung outlook, self-worth, and pressure. Di ba yung chat nga? Mamaya may cyberbullying nangyayari.
Yes.
Di ba siya lang nakakabasa nun eh? Kasi ano yan, personalized chat. Social, maybe communication, maybe with the parents, priorities with your academics, relationship with parents. Na hindi kayo nagkakaintindihan, you don't know the game, you don't know what your son is playing or your daughter is playing, yun. Di ba? Baka hindi kayo nagkakaintindihan. And then
the
lifestyle. Maybe ang tingin mo sa academics is just an hindrance.
Mhm.
'Di ba? Parang may career naman pala sa sa esports eh. I'll do away. No, you need your academics, 'di ba? To be better at something, 'di ba? May fallback ka. Hindi naman pwede yan na passionate ka with something, all your wishes will come true. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to have a fallback. And what you learn in school might be useful in what you have with esports. 'Di ba? Math. Oh, 'di ba? Okay. And then your health. There's a risk in health. Playing all day. Sino ba nagsabi ng playing all day? 'Di ba? It's a no-no, right? Di naman sinasabi ng Bren Esports 'yun eh. 'Di ba? Hindi naman sinasabi ng mga professional players 'yun. 'Di ba? They have their own training regimen which you do not know. Maybe araw-araw they go to the gym. Hindi mo
So
lang
what do we do,
nakikita
coach?
'yun eh. Ayan.
What do we do to
What do we do?
avoid this
Next
risk?
slide, please. Ayan, next slide. Okay, so therefore, we have to make it work. We have to make it work. So, physically, we work out at least 15 minutes a day for strength and conditioning. Do jump rope, di ba? Ganyan. Kasi, the better you are physically, the better you will be in reacting. It goes within. Your eyes are part of the body, so therefore, it has to have connectivity with your hands. That ang ganda ng performance. So, work it out. Work out. Next, you have to make it work, no? Sorry. You have to make it work. Yung isa pala is open lines for communication.
Yes.
Okay? Socially. Di ba? Your teammate is having a hard time, open the lines for communication. R is regular mentoring of your members. So if you're coaching or if you're the moderator, if you're the parent, kamustahin mo lang. Kamustahin mo lang. Yung genuine na sincere kamusta.
Yeah.
Okay? Maybe they need that. Okay? And K, keep the passion burning. Hindi ibig sabihin na natalo sila, that's the end. It's part of it. It's teaching resiliency. In life, maraming disappointments. Natalo ka sa game, talo ka sa tournament, it's part of life. So, keep the passion burning. Sige. Diba? And keep that
Try
support.
again.
So, make it work. Diba? Make it work. Work out, open the lines, regular monitoring, and keep the passion burning. Yeah. Next slide. How do we be responsible in esports? Well, have that organization with you. Diba? If the school has that organization, then we open the ideas to stakeholders. We establish that foundation with adult supervision. Di ba? We have the condition set. O kailangan may grade na hindi kayo pwede mag-compete if you have a failing grade. Ganun yun. Malinaw na usapan. So therefore, there's a balance with your requirements academically with the benefits of joining this esports organization. Make that clear. Kung bumabagsak ka dito, double jeopardy ka niyan. Bagsak ka na sa academics mo, hindi ka pa makaka-compete. Di ba? So, you go to the side with benefits. Pasaan, di ba? Pataas ka na with high marks. Actually, taasan nyo pa, hindi lang passing, ha? Taasan nyo pa. Di ba? You have a safe grade, you're learning, and then at the same time, you're competing through esports. And then learn and build the community together. Practice. Okay? Participate and gain experience with as many events as possible. Okay?
Many tournaments as possible.
Maliit na event, malaking event, join. And then continuously improve the system. Evaluate it every year. Now, okay ba? Maganda ba yung implementation? Yeah, ba? With all the stakeholders. Okay, next slide. Okay, part of it as well will be to be involved with as many events as possible. Sure, yung mga ibang pictures pala, animate pala yan. Okay, so alam ko, popular ang Mobile Legends and Valorant, no? But, siyempre may a bit of you will be playing Hearthstone, Tekken, but sana you have other opportunities, no? For Tetris.
Coach, we have a question here from
Rocket
Team
League.
Bravo. Team Bravo, how can we be less toxic when it comes to playing esports?
Maganda dyan, you have a non-toxic coach or management who will guide everyone. Di ba, kahit ano naman will be toxic eh. Can be toxic if you have, di ba? If guidance is not there. That's the problem. Di ba? Okay, so sana you have people that are good, no, with how to handle things. Ganun siya. How can be less toxic? Have people who are less toxic working with you. Or yung ang appearance niya toxic, let them be guided na pwedeng may iba pang paraan. Be cool. Okay? Yan. So
Coach,
lastly, yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Lastly, sa slide ko pala, I think I have a last, dyan.
Yes.
Last 2 slides ko yata. No? Siguro yon, join tournaments because of higher reasons. Not, di ba? Cash prizes are good.
It's a good motivation.
But they are not always there. Lalo na ngayon, the times of pandemic, di ba, who will shell out, di ba, thousands of pesos for you. Ang hirap ng buhay ngayon. Di ba? So, walang cash prize. But participate because of learning. Participate because you have a chance to be better at something with someone, with your teammates. Build that community. Okay? And build that friendship through lasting and fun-filled experiences. So, don't do it for the money. Don't do it because of higher reasons. No? Because of experiences, because it helps you to be a better person. Again, di ba, sabi nga sa atin, di ba? It comes and ends with God. Di ba? We have the gift of esports, di ba? And it's a chance for you to be a better person. So use that. Diba? Be a better teammate, be a better player, maybe be a great coach someday, be a great mentor someday. So use this time. No? Kasi pag gagamitin mo lang, kasi kikita ako na mas marami. It's an end to itself. Diba? How can you be a better person through esports? That's the fundamental question. All right? So with that, sige, we end with our slide. Okay. Nasagot natin, no? What is esports? Why is it considered sports, and what do we get from esports, and how we be responsible to implement it. So, in conclusion, next slide. Right. Each one has our own interests. Well, it is up to us how to grow this to become a passion. It is for the people around us who can help us make this as a career. Hopefully, we will help. Yes, will help everyone. Okay, and help yourself to be better. You have to be a better person. Yan ang pangalan ko na si Tito TZ. Okay.
Coach.
So, thank you very much. Next slide. Thank you lang.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, nag-overtime tayo. No? Ang dami nating ano eh.
Yes, Coach. Ang dami nating pwede pang pag-uusapan, and I would have to ask Father J-Boy for another part of this dialogue. And thank you sa mga audience natin na nag-antay pa rin at tapusin itong dialogue natin sa Esport. Um, katatapos ko lang basahin itong libro, Power Play. And I'd like to close this with an excerpt from this book. Sabi dito, to quote with, the phenomenal growth of gaming has inspired plenty of hand-wringing from the press, politicians, parents, and everyone else concerned with its effect on our brain and bodies. But what if games could be good, not only for individuals, but for the world?
Exactly.
Beyond this dialogue, I hope that parents and teachers, players too, will find the value of esports. May this phenomenon promotes excellence, competence, and teamwork. Before I end this, I'd like to announce to watch out for our Gamecaster screening. This is for our upcoming tournaments. The tournament is open to all ADU teachers, parents, and learners from the junior high school unit, senior high school, and college. Now, to end this properly,
Wow.
let me read the certificate. Uh, if Father J. Boy could join with us, you are most welcome, Father. The Ateneo de Davao University Sports Cluster, in partnership with Ignatian Spirituality and Formation Office, awards the Certificate of Appreciation to Coach Ryan B. Villena for imparting valuable insights during the special episode of the Ignatian Spirituality and Formation Office TV entitled A Dialogue on Esports, given this day, 1st of October 2021, signed by yours truly, John Lee Tubiap, Senior High School Sports Coordinator, and Father Giselle Gerard Gonzalez, SJ, Director, ISFO, or Ignatian Spirituality and Formation Office. Father, may ngudto.
Hi, Father.
Hi guys, nice to
Hi.
be with you. I'm very happy because Coach Ryan actually is a friend of mine, and we were together in Ateneo High School. He was teaching Filipino, di ba?
Yeah.
Filipino.
Filipino.
Yeah. Kaya naalala pa
Diba?
kita.
Oo.
I made a comment a while ago that he used to have these nerdy glasses. Yung glasses na thick rim, ganyan. I still can imagine him teaching in his classes. So it is a great way to reminisce those times, Ryan. Those were great times,
you.
no?
Yeah, indeed. Oo. Diba ngayon?
But ang maganda dito, kahit hanggang dito sa Ateneo de Davao, partners tayo, di ba?
Yes.
We'll have more of this, Ryan. I hope you hindi ka magsasawa because we're going to promote this also with other Ateneos and other schools as well. Because indeed, no, I think we have to take care of both the athletes and the gamers.
Yes.
But because the gamers, they have a stigma vis-a-vis their parents or even administrators or those who are adults. Because when they think about gaming, it's always like, oh no, baka they get addicted, etc. What they don't know, because of that stigma, I think we have to educate, but also we have to take care of everyone. Because
indeed.
whether athlete or not athlete or musician, there is always the excess.
Yes.
So I think, as you have said, it is really good for us to be able to take care personally. Naalala mo, cura personalis, di ba?
Cura
to take
personalis.
care of each individual and respect, and at the same time appreciate, and also as much as possible let their interests grow, whether it is online or not. So,
the passion.
diba?
Dapat
Follow
kaya sinabi ko yung
guys.
Kaya nga sinabi yung esports, di ba? Para sa akin, ang daming pwedeng ibig sabihin di ba? Getting to be engaged, getting to be enlightened, di ba? With what you do not know. Diba?
Coach Ryan and Father J-Boy, thank you for your presence today and our audiences all around the Philippines, Mindanao, Visayas, and Luzon. Thank you very much. Maing udto sa inyo. Coach,
thank you.
Next time, Coach, we would like to invite siguro yung ibang players na naman, no? Maybe testimony para ma-share nila.
Maraming salamat. Thank you. Take care.
Don't forget, you can follow Haraya Sports on FB and social media. Haraya, Haraya.
Yeah.
Tama, Ryan?
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.